What's happening, you guys? This is Coach Joel. This is the Ikon Fitness podcast. If you're joining on the Ikon Blueprint Facebook page, welcome. You get to watch live. If you're watching the already recorded version of this on YouTube, hey, thanks for tuning in. We have an awesome, radical, super tubular, I don't think anybody uses those words anymore, maybe if you're in SoCal, but I'm going to use it today, show where we're going to be talking about a very sensitive topic dependent on the person, which is body image. And I have somebody here who got the ins and outs, who has lived through it herself, who is a professional and helps others with body image, with nutrition, with mindset. And her name is Callie. Callie started coaching and podcasting in 2017, which eventually evolved over time to high performance coaching, which includes mindset, movement, lifestyle, and nutrition. Callie currently resides in the greater Phoenix area and thrives every day to encourage and empower people to take back their own life, get out of their own way, and build healthy habits and live a life that they love. So without further ado, let's get this superstar rocking and rolling. Callie, welcome to the show.
Hi, Joel. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you. Tell me what the weather's like in Arizona right now.
It's freaking beautiful.
Of course it is.
I know. I've been laughing about how I can't live anywhere cold anymore because it's 70 is cold to me still. I'm in long sleeves and I think it's 74 today.
You get out of here. You get out of here.
Yeah, it's definitely, the summers were rough, but yeah, it's beautiful here right now.
You guys, it's February 17th. I think it's 32 degrees outside in Reno, Nevada. And Callie's just flaunting about how chilly she is inside.
We'll talk in mid-July when it's 1:21 at 8 a.m. Talk to me then.
Yeah. That's when you're just jumping from AC to AC, right?
Yep. Yeah. When your AC hardly works anymore. Yep. That's when that happens.
How long have you lived in Arizona?
Just since June. Since June. We were in Reno until then, and then my husband lost his job with COVID, and we took a leap to sell our house to pay off debt.
Yeah.
And took some leaps on career changes and new opportunities and growing ourselves and our businesses. And so we took the leap and did it, and we really like it down here. It's been fun. We miss Reno, we miss our friends up there, but sure, we like it down here.
For sure. And we were talking a little bit before the show about how you paid off all of your debt in 2020. Is that right?
Yeah. So one of our big goals was to pay off our debt.
Yes.
We did sell our house, which we knew we were going to have to do in order to pay off some of the credit cards that we had from being young.
Yes.
I had a pretty hefty amount of credit cards from when I was young and got divorced. I lived on credit cards. I didn't know any different. No one had really ever told me, don't live beyond your means. My parents had, and I had been told that, but I don't know, when you're 20, you want everything and you buy it all. And it ran both of us into some trouble. My husband and I both had some pretty significant debt. And so we had been chipping away at it through Dave Ramsey's plan for a long time. And there was just a little chunk left. So when we paid off our house, when we sold our house, we paid off the rest of it. So that was a really good 2020 accomplishment.
That's an amazing accomplishment. You guys, if you don't follow Dave Ramsey and you are in any type of financial despair, start following him. Let me know or let Callie know. I've run one of his courses. Financial Peace University is an amazing course. You can find it online. I highly suggest it. We are not meant to be in debt, you guys. It is not a healthy place to be. Don't let anybody fool you when it comes to debt and credit cards and so on and so forth. Yeah. Cash is king. If I have $350,000 to buy a house, no one's going to deny me because of my credit.
Yep. Agreed. I could go on a whole episode
right?
about financial.
We're talking about body image. Let us get back to it. Tell us a little bit of how you got into coaching, because from what I know, this wasn't ever part of the long-term plan. You weren't graduate high school and be like, hey, I'm going to be a high performance coach. How did you get to the point that you got to right now?
Yeah. So no, this was definitely not my plan. I started out wanting to be a wedding and event planner. I got really deep into event and wedding planning. I opened a wedding planning business.
Yeah, you
I
did.
loved events and weddings. I loved it. I loved it. It was amazing. It was beautiful. It was fun. It was hard work. I loved it. I went through a divorce when I was really young and gained a ton of weight. I had always really struggled with my body.
Mm-hmm.
I was always really tall. Like I've been 5'11" since sixth grade. So I was humongous as a sixth grader. And so people constantly told me that, right? Like, oh, you're huge. Like, why is the huge girl on the basketball team? Like, who let the big girl on the volleyball team? Like, because I was just tall.
Yeah.
And so I had always struggled with my body in general. Then I gained a ton of weight and I coped with food through my divorce. And so I ate everything in sight to cope with my happiness. And because burritos made me happy, but nothing else seemed to at the time. And so I coped with food and I gained a ton of weight. And then when I decided to take my life back and find my own happiness and get out of a toxic relationship, I realized that I didn't have a coach and I didn't know how to do it. And there's 900 things on the internet, everything from believe me, I bought every diet shake there was. I did it. If it was out there, I did it. And nothing worked. Nothing was working. I wasn't getting results. I was unhappy. So when I found a journey and I found a community and I ended up meeting my now husband through the CrossFit, like through friends, but we ended up getting pretty in depth with the CrossFit community and nutrition and learning things and learning how to actually eat and not just like diet. I wish that I would have had that when I went through my journey. And so I became so like fiercely passionate about wanting to give back what I had learned to other people that were in my situation. I wanted people to realize that you didn't have to just buy into every diet on the internet and that you could work with someone that understood and that had been through a journey with you. And I hadn't always just been, and I really struggled going into the industry because I didn't know if I was the right body image for the job. I didn't know if I was going to have the right experience for the job. Like, are people going to want to learn from me? Are people going to want to hear from me? And so I kind of went feet first into nutrition coaching, which then taught me a whole nother world of things about myself, about my clients, about what actually drives people's happiness. And so much of it's not just the scale, which we'll dive into even more. So I started with a podcast. I started one-on-one coaching, and it slowly has just evolved into high performance coaching to give people back their life and their happiness around their career, their life fulfillment. You don't have to be in a marriage you don't want to be in. You don't have to be around friends you don't love. You don't have to have a career that you hate. And you don't have to feel like garbage. Like, you can have good energy and you can eat well and move well. And it doesn't have to be this perfect thing. And so it slowly has just evolved over time to what I'm doing now.
And what you touched on right there is like, you don't have to feel the way that you're feeling. Guys, listen. Living at 70% is not living. There is 100% out there. You've just gotten used to living at 70%. So you believe that is your 100%. You believe getting 5 hours of sleep, waking up with a headache is just how you live. But Callie and I are here to tell you, you could hit either one of us up. We will upgrade your life. Okay. It's like the mushroom in Mario, right? You got to get the mushroom. We're the mushroom. We're going to give you a mushroom, right? You're going to level up here. Your background really hit on the diet industry in itself, right? The diet industry industry in itself is a $72 billion industry. And that's because they want everyone to think they have the solution, the surface solution. And that's where you dove into. You dove into the surface solution, and you probably spent a lot of money, right, on the surface solution.
And they were selling weight loss. No one was like, let me sell you a healthy lifestyle. They were like, here, eat 600 calories and you'll be skinny. And that's what I was like, okay.
Totally.
Yeah. And it was just this, like, here's your transaction. There was no coaching. It was just like, here's your powdery drink, drink it 3 times a day. And then that was it. Like, there was nothing else to it. It wasn't like, let me teach you how to be happy. Let me teach you how to be healthy. Let's talk about movement. Like, none of that existed.
Yes. It's so funny. It's like, hey, I don't like that tree that's in front of my house, so I'm going to go cut off a branch. That's not going to do anything. right?
Right.
You have to dig in, not even if you go all the way to the base and you cut the base, it's until you get to the roots, until you pull the roots out, that tree won't grow anymore. And that speaking to that, and we'll dive into a little bit more of that. Let's talk about, and this is a question that I ask everybody who comes on the show, right? Who's a professional, an entrepreneur, right? Runs their own thing. What is the hell that you solve? Somebody is going through hell right now, and you got the answer. What is it that you do that will pull somebody out of that particular hell?
Yeah, I help people fix their broken joy. So many people live this like unfulfilled life and they're unhappy, and they're living at 70%. Some people are living at 50%. And they don't give themselves credit for anything that they're doing, and they're miserable. And I truly believe that I go through 9 components of things that I think that you need to level up and amplify your life and have a fulfilled life. Food being one of them, movement being one of them, mindset, relationships, your community, a variety of things, but give you back that joy. You don't have to just go through the motions. You don't have to just work at this job and stay at this job because that's what you were told you were supposed to do when you graduated college. You just go work a 9 to 5 and hate your life. But you can love your life, and you can have energy to bring into your life, and you don't have to hate everything that's happening in your life. Yes.
Ugh, I love that. You fix broken joy. Guys, if you don't have your joy, you know who's going to help you? Callie will. All right. So what we're talking about today is body image. Now, we've talked about this personally, you and I. I know that you have personal experience. This is a very personal topic when it comes to body image. Will you talk to us about what body image is and how has it impacted your life, and how does that help with the people that you work with?
Yeah, absolutely. So body image to me is how you perceive yourself, how you see yourself, how you speak to yourself, how you look at yourself in the mirror. And that can come in different waves for different people. I'll disclose that we all have different journeys on this. Mine is that I always have struggled with weight loss, and seeing myself as being bigger or unfit for a certain industry or unfit for a certain group of people. I have friends that struggle the opposite direction, that feel like they're too skinny and not strong enough and not, my husband's one of those people. I have a lot of men in my life that really struggle with the opposite end of still seeing themselves skinny, even though they're super strong and have gained weight and things like that. So it goes both sides. But I'm going to personally share kind of my experience with it. With body image for me, it's always been a struggle of my worth comparing to my weight and trying to find that balance. I always was striving for a certain number. I thought that when I hit 150 pounds, I would be happy. When I hit X number, I would be happy. And it had nothing to do with that. I hated myself. I spoke negatively to myself. I told myself that I thought I was ugly. I would stand in front of the mirror and pick apart every ounce of my body to my like kneecaps. I'd be like, look at how fat my kneecaps are. Like, what? Like, what are you talking about, Callie? But when you put these things into your head and you're speaking them, you're going to create this image of yourself. No matter what you actually look like, you create this image for yourself. And people are all talking about it, right? And so a lot of mine I know stemmed from being 5'11" in 6th grade, and people would call me the big girl because I was tall. I was tall. I was a taller human. I was a bigger frame. I grew between 5th and 6th grade from 4'11" to 5'11".
Wow.
Everyone else was still 4'11".
Yes.
So when I played childhood sports, like they called me the ogre. Like that is hurtful stuff when you're a kid. And so, but I was like, it's fine. I'm tall. It's fine. Like whatever. We would have other schools when I played basketball and volleyball, like ask if I was actually of age to play because of my height. And so in my head, I was always just big. Like I wasn't overweight at that point. I was just so tall. But when people use that term constantly at you and they call you big, that's what you see, no matter what you look like. And so the long roundabout story of this is that body image is how you see yourself. A lot of the times we all tend to see other people in a totally different way. And people see you totally different. So it's just how you perceive yourself. I'm a big believer on it's how you talk to yourself and how you're speaking to yourself. If you're speaking good and filling your heart with soul with joy, you're going to feel that. If you are just speaking negativity, you're going to body image is how you perceive yourself, how you're seeing yourself in the mirror.
Absolutely. And one of the things I always tell people constantly, right? Because our words change our lives, right? The way we speak is the way that we live. And one of the things I tell people is that what you focus on expands. Mm-hmm. And so what you were talking about there and repeating is these words that you were continuing to say, right? So what happens? It expands and it gets bigger and it gets bigger and it gets bigger to the point that you're like, look at my kneecaps.
Yeah.
Right? It's like my eyelashes are big, like
literally, like that's to the point that it would get, right? And it would like little things that I would start to pick apart about myself. Like once I found one thing that I was unhappy about, I would just find everything. Like nothing was right.
Yeah.
I was comparing myself a lot to other people. And their journeys and their stories, and not even regarding the fact of like what they're going through. Like they probably feel the same way. Like they probably are struggling with their body too.
Yeah.
But you compare yourself to where other people are and what their journey is and what their body looks like. And you don't always remember that they are on a totally different journey than you, and a totally different life, and they're a different person, and that's okay.
Totally. That's such good stuff. And so, we're talking about our perception of our bodies. Now, obviously, we can have a positive body image and we can have a negative body image. What's the difference that you saw with yourself or with your clients when it came to having, a positive body image or a negative body image, or the transfer between one or the other?
Yeah, just joy. You see people's joy change. You see people's like reasonings behind things change. I saw it a lot with my clients when I first started coaching. I primarily coached a lot of women. They all had a weight loss goal. Everyone wanted to lose weight. And when they would hit their goal weight, when I hit my goal weight, you still weren't happy. You still weren't joyful. When I was able to work through it and free myself of hating myself where I was, I stopped stressing out about what I was eating. I stopped stressing out about everything in my life. I had gotten to such a strong point in my life that I was either like closet binge eating, like we're talking like hiding behind things, like make sure no one posts this on social media that I'm binging. Yes. And I would track my macros to a degree that I wouldn't go, like friends would go to dinner and they'd be like, I can't go because I can't work that into my macros. Like, I don't know how I'm going to count that. And so it took such control of my life because I was working so hard to this goal that didn't even matter. Like that wasn't going to make me happy. And so when I was able to free all of that up, my happiness came back. I wasn't just constantly stressed out about my weight. I wasn't constantly stressed out about my life and my eating and everything. And I still am a huge advocate, and I coach nutrition. Yeah. I coach a little differently now because I definitely believe in like eating to fuel your dreams. I'm not just saying like go eat like a dumpster fire for the rest of your life. Yeah. But when you can look at yourself and love yourself, you're not stressed out. You're not constantly hiding behind things. I chased my goals at a different level when I was able to break free. I had more confidence to chase my goals. I had more confidence to expand my goals. I always wanted to stay small because I didn't feel like I had a space in a room when I was so focused on my body image. When I first launched my nutrition podcast, I didn't even I posted, like when I look back now, I posted on my Instagram like once a week, no personal photos. I didn't post anything of myself. I didn't talk about it. I was so trying to diminish everything that I was doing. When I broke free and started to love who I was, I watched my career just blow up. Like I watched things just expand and grow, and I could pour into other people at that point. And I elaborated how I was coaching. And so there was just so many things that broke free when I stopped obsessing with my body and stopped obsessing about hating my body. Right. I put that energy into something else. And I've seen it with my clients. When you can take the energy away from just negatively draining yourself and telling yourself that you're worthy and that you love yourself and that you deserve your dreams and your career and the relationships and the friendships, your joy just turns. It turns. And then you're going to find happiness in everything. I changed careers when I was able to break free of my body image stuff. Wow. I had a day job and it was a good job. It was an amazing company in Reno. I did HOA management for 6.5 years, but no one calls their HOA manager because they're happy. Like it was not a positive industry. Yeah, of course. It was a very negative, draining industry, but I thought that's where I had to stay and that's where I was comfortable, but I wasn't confident to chase the bigger dream. I wasn't confident to go all into the fitness industry. I wasn't confident to go all into myself. I wasn't confident to pull all the LLCs to be full-time for myself. And so when you can break free of that, your life just expands in so many different ways.
Which again comes back to what you focus on expands. So when we start focusing on all the positive things, right, happiness and joy starts expanding. And being able to recognize those thoughts and what we're saying is so vitally important. What was the breaking point, Callie? I mean, you talked about like, oh man, you were just so like lasered in, like, nope, I'm not going to dinner. I'm not going to weddings. What was the breaking point? There had to be a breaking point where you went, this isn't working. What was that?
COVID was a really huge eye opener. I didn't realize that I was broken until COVID hit.
Wow.
I thought that I was doing it really well. I mean, I was coaching a pretty like strict nutrition coaching still at that point. Like I was still living a pretty rigid life at that point, until things got taken away. Friends gone. Like you're not going to see your friends anymore. Gyms were closed.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't even go to the gym. We were working out like 6 days a week, which we still move almost every day. Like we still work out, but it was like this mindset of like, if I missed a workout, I would never achieve my goal and I'll always be fat. Like that was my mindset.
Got you.
It's like, if I missed the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning, I would never be this person that I was trying to obtain. And so once COVID hit and took all of the barriers down, everything was gone, right? So you're at home. We were fortunate enough to have like barbells and a gym in our garage. But then when we moved down here, Arizona reshut their gyms down 2 days after we got here, and we live in an apartment. So like we have a garage, but like it's attached to someone else. So that's rude to be dropping barbells in the middle of the night. Like,
that's true.
Like that's not kind. And so things just changed and barriers really broke down. And it was this moment to be like, I don't have to track macros right now. Like,
Boom.
I don't have to work out as hard as I was. I can still move my body and eat really good and feel really good and not have to be so obsessed with everything. And then once all of that kind of broke free, that's when my body image really started to change. I'm 35 pounds heavier than I was before COVID started. And I'm 1,000 times happier, not being nearly as grindy with everything.
Sure.
And I never would have thought that. I had lost at my lowest about 85 pounds total, and then put it back just over 30. And I was so worried about that, but I was just so dialed in and so focused on that. And once that all kind of rattled, things really changed.
Wow. Yeah, that's it. That's incredible, because what you're saying, and there's so many people that I work with, and I know that you work with too. It's like, I have to be at the gym. I have to eat this way. Yeah, and that's exhausting, right? Yeah. And it wears. Now, there's always great benefits in terms of exercise and eating appropriately and so on and so forth. Okay. But when you make it your idol, all of a sudden, everything else below it starts crumbling. Our relationships, our happiness, our joy, our sleep, our attitudes, our stress levels. When we get too focused on one side, we swing one side or the other, it can be detrimental. And what you're saying right now is, even though you added on weight, your happiness is higher.
Yep. And I still eat I still eat really well.
Yeah.
And I eat really balanced, and we still move every day. But if I want to get up and go for a hike instead of going to the gym, that's okay. And you'll be all right. And you can still generate energy and take care of yourself and love your body. I have been doing workouts. I work full-time for a Pilates studio, which a year ago, if you would have asked me that, I would have laughed in your face and been like, absolutely not. I'm not doing Pilates. No way.
Yeah.
But I love it. I love the movement for it. I still go to the gym. I'll never stop loving the barbell. But I also love Pilates for certain things, and I never would have even tried it. I never would have leaned into it. I never would have tried it. I never would have even explored it. And so COVID was just so good. I've had so many clients too. You've probably had it too. People are like, oh, I put the COVID 15 on. And I'm like, but is it a bad COVID 15?
Yeah.
Like, let's get you healthy, and let's keep you healthy, and let's keep you energized so that you can be energized to do all the things.
Right.
But were you so dialed in that everything else was crumbling? Like, You're right. Your relationships, your sleep. I slept like garbage when I was at my lowest weight. Yeah. I was so hyper focused on my eating that like I said, I didn't go to weddings. I didn't participate in people's lives. I I would like not eat birthday cake because I was like, nope, I can't have berries for me, like, which is fine, but like a piece of birthday cake's not going to kill you once a year. Like, but I was so obsessed with that it wouldn't like, nope, this one day it's not going to fit in, so I can't go. Like, it just got obsessive. It just got obsessive.
And you know what? You're not the only one that's out there, right? There's body image is a huge, huge deal that can lead to so many different disorders. And so what I'm curious to get your opinion on is what are the influences that are coming in, right? Particularly social media or the news, or what are the influences that are coming in, and why are those such a powerful effect on people when it comes to struggling with body image?
Yeah, I mean, social media is full of it. The news is full of it. Um, Social media is huge. I mean, you're flooded with ads. You're flooded with, like, right now, people are going after the fitness industry is hammering down on the COVID-19.
Oh yeah.
The diet, you hit New Year's Eve. How many times have people started a diet on New Year's Eve? Everybody. I started my weight loss journey on the 29th of December because it was a New Year's resolution. Like, we've all been there, right?
Right.
And social media tells you what you need to look like and how you need to eat and what you need to do,
Mm,
and how it looks perfectly. And
mm,
they don't tell you everything. You don't get the full picture. Drinking the diet shake's not going to make you happy. It's not going to make you find this void in your life. Like, body image as a whole, there are people. I will say that I'm very intentional about the people that I follow on social media. I
yes.
don't follow people that make me feel bad about myself. I don't follow people that don't bring me joy. I block people. I don't care if you're my family member. If you are bringing negativity to my life, I block you. I don't care.
I
Like,
love
I
it.
do not care. I don't. I'm so intentional about the people in my life and the influences that I get.
Yes.
Um, but before I was really intentional, there was so much about, this is your body that you should have. This is how you can get to that body. This is
Yes.
this is how you're going to get to that journey. And I was obsessed with it when I first started because I didn't know any better.
Yeah.
I didn't have friends that were really like honed in on this stuff. And so
Right.
I would follow people that, like, oh, if you do this workout and eat this shake, you're going to look like this. I'm
Mm,
never going to look like this. Like, I don't care who you are. That's not me. So I'm not going to look like that. But the media just pushes all that on you, right? And they really attack people in January. Get off your couch for January, do the New Year's resolution thing.
right. Right.
And I feel like there's so much beyond your overall wellness that the media talks about. Like, the media just talks about weight loss, or depending on who you're following, weight gain, or depending
Yep.
on what you're searching on the internet, your targeted ads are going to go after you for. And so I feel like there's just so much misinformation out there too. Like, there's just, anybody can be a health coach, anybody can coach
Yeah.
nutrition, anyone can coach and give advice about anything. Um, and so, yeah, there's media in every which direction, and anyone can be an expert. So you can get it anywhere.
True. And it's really tough for people to decipher between, hey, this is good and this is not so good. I mean, there are
Yeah,
so many people out there that are doing coaching that don't have they have the right intentions. I really truly believe that most people
absolutely.
who are out there really do have the right intentions. But without having a deeper understanding, a deeper practice, knowing that, like we talked about, just scratching the surface is not going to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
You may get very minimal results, and maybe you even get maximal results. But if we don't raise the foundation in which our health, nutrition, mindset, emotional, right, community, all the things are, if we don't rise that foundation, then all that's going to happen is that people are going to fall back down to their foundation. So yeah, you might be
Right.
able to lose 25 pounds, 35 pounds, but that isn't something that can last. And so
Yeah.
when you decide you're done, you're going to fall all the way back down to what you were at when you started, when you
Yep.
didn't look at your sleep, when you didn't look at your mindset, when you didn't look at the way that you thought and you spoke. All of those things play into slowly raising the foundation so that if you want to get crazy and run a 50K, or you want to, lose 20 pounds or whatever the case is, for a particular event, you're going to fall back to that foundation.
Yep. Yep. And I think that that's so true, right? So, like, there are a lot of great programs out there to teach you how to lose weight. It'll work. Like, you can do it. It'll what you're looking for. But it's not going to teach you to love yourself. They're not going to teach you positive self-talk. They're not going to teach you the affirmations. They're not going to teach you how to change that in your mind. Yes. And if that's not changed, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, you can't, once you hit the weight, you're going to be like, cool, I still don't love myself. Like, it's not going to matter. And so I think that's where I think you hit the nail on the head with that. With the media, is just, there's so much good intention and there's so much good information as far as just like losing the weight or obtaining the results that you're looking for without more of that rooted, why are you feeling this? What happened in your childhood? What's going on in your life? How do you talk to yourself? How do the people around you talk to you? Are you around someone that's constantly obsessed with their weight too? Because that's going to influence you. Are you around someone that is telling you that you're unhealthy or fat? Or I lived that. I had friends around me. I had an ex-husband that told me that I was overweight. Like, I experienced that. And so when you have someone telling you that, I don't care if you're the thinnest you've ever been, if someone's telling you you're fat, you're going to think you're fat. Yes. And so if you don't have the right people around you, it's not going to make a difference how many shakes you drink. It's just not going to make a difference.
You're dead on with that. It's like, whether it's fitness, nutrition, body weight, marriage, children, retirement, right? We always say, like, when I get to, and my thing is like, hey, guess what could happen today? You could die. This could be your last day. How do you want to live your last day? Do you want to live your last day thinking about 20 years in the future? Now, that's not taking away that, hey, we should pay off debt and we should work on our fitness and invest into our marriages and so on and so forth. But it's being able to recognize that syndrome of like, when I get there, I'll be happy. It's like, man,
100%.
You know, because your happiness is actually right now. And so that's what you should be working right now. We should be hitting some happiness. So I always like being able to give the listeners very tangible, actionable things that they can do. Obviously, working with you, that's very tangible, right? Because if you are struggling with body image, you want to work with a pro, you got one right here. And we'll talk about how to get a hold of Callie after the show, or before the show closes. But what are the top three things that someone struggling with body image could do to start creating a better body image? What is some of the things that you tell your clients, hey, this is what we're going to work on first?
Absolutely. So affirmations is always where I start. I'm super passionate about affirmations. If you follow me on any platforms, I am such a believer in affirmations. You have to say them, you have to speak them, you have to live them, you have to breathe them, you have to see them. I do window clings because I got tired of sticky notes all over my bathroom mirror. Nice. But you have to be able to say positive things to yourself. And it's hard and it sucks at first. Like the last thing you want to do is stand in front of the mirror and say, like, I love my curves. I love my body. I love my love handles. I love my thighs. But calling out those things that you thought you hate, that you are constantly telling yourself that you hate, and changing that, reversing it, saying that you love it. I love my butt. My butt looks great today. I love my thighs. I love how my body looks. I love how I feel. If you can't talk to yourself positively, it's not going to change. Your mind is where it starts. If your mind is not in the right place, you're not going to get there. It's always where I start. I don't care about what you want to eat. I don't care about how we're going to lose weight. We're going to start with your mind, and we're going to start with how you talk to yourself.
Love it.
That being said, and affirmations, like I said, I could go down that for 45 minutes. But the people that you're around, if you're around crappy people, you're going to feel crappy. If you're around people that aren't leveling up their life, that aren't bringing happiness to you, that are speaking negatively, that are not bringing you joy, then they're not the right people. And this can be your family. I'm not saying go kick mom out. I'm saying silence mom's microphone. If someone in your family is just not, they're bringing you negative, like whatever, and it makes you struggle with your body image or with your life or anything, turn their microphone off. They don't have a say. They can be in your life, but they don't get the say. If you're in a marriage that's garbage, get out of your marriage. I don't care. Like, it's hard. It's ruthless. Do not be with someone that does not love you, does not respect you. If you have someone that's with you that's saying you're fat, you're overweight, do not be with them. They do not deserve you. You deserve more than that. goodbye. You can find someone better. And then changing your focus. Don't just obsess over that. Don't put your whole career and everything on hold until you change something about your body. Because you're never going to get the career. You're never going to get anything else if you're only focused on your weight. Focus on eating to feel good. Focus on drinking water to feel good. Focus on movement to feel good. Stop focusing on your weight. Stop focusing on whether it's gaining weight or losing weight. Stop focusing on the number. We have a scale. I don't get on it. I get obsessed with it, and it makes me feel sad and weird when I stand on the scale. I hate it. But don't focus on that. Focus on eating to feel good. Focus on working out so that you have the energy to tackle your goals. Focus on drinking the water so that you have the energy to take on your life. Focus on having really awesome relationships that make you feel happy and energized when you're done with seeing or talking to that person. Take the focus off of the number, though. Focus on the rest of your life and how your life can be happy, and then everything else will fall into place. You'll notice that your body is changing. You'll notice that your body's starting to feel better. If you're moving and feeling good, then everything else is going to move on that dial. But don't just hyper focus on nothing else matters until I've lost this weight.
Which is huge stuff, because we'll get so hyper focused that we could actually be feeling better, right? I use a technique called notice and name, right? Notice what's going right or wrong, and then name it, call it out. And that's just reflection. You just got to be able to reflect of what's going on. But if you're only hyper focused on the weight, that's still another 6 weeks out. If you hit your macros perfectly and you work out perfectly, then that entire 6 weeks, you actually aren't giving yourself the opportunity to celebrate small and even big wins, because your focus is so over here that your blinders are keeping you from being able to see all the wonderful things that are going on. And that becomes really exhausting, because you have this one narrow focus. And then when you get there, because you didn't have your blinders open to all the beauty that was happening within yourself, with the people around you, and so on and so forth, that when you actually get there, you're like, oh man, I do not feel good, because I spent the last 6 weeks trying to get to this number, and I ignored my friends, and I didn't eat anything that, tasted good. And I picked apart myself, and I weighed on the scale every single day, and so on and so forth. And that can just be so exhausting.
Yeah, I think that it's really important that you mentioned to celebrate every little step. And there's so many non-scale victories, right? And there's so many little things in your life to celebrate around your journey, your fitness journey, your wellness journey. It doesn't have to be your weight at all. Celebrate movement. Celebrate being able to have movement. Not everybody has that luxury to be able to move. Celebrate that you can walk up a mountain. Celebrate that you have access to a gym. Canada doesn't even, I don't think their gyms are still closed from last year.
For sure.
Like celebrate that you have the access to still show up and move. When gyms in Arizona were closed for 5.5 months out of the year overall. And now, like, if you can get in the gym, I don't care if your workout doesn't look perfect. Celebrate the fact that you got to go today. Celebrate the fact that you got to move today. It doesn't always have to be perfect. You don't always have to be hitting PRs, and it doesn't have to be this like perfect rhythmic thing. Celebrate that you have the energy to show up, and celebrate all those little things along the way. It doesn't have to just be that end goal. Otherwise you're never celebrating. You're not ever going to get to enjoy the hard work that you're putting in or the life that you're living, because you're never going to be happy, and you're never going to get to celebrate the end goal. Celebrate everything all the way through. Yes.
That's that in goal setting with my clients. That's like the number one thing, right? Particularly for my hard chargers, A-typers, just like on to the next thing. I'm like, no, pause. Okay, you just worked on this project for 6 months. Right? Hundreds of hours. You're talking about move on to the next thing? No, I want you to get on a plane. I want you to fly down to San Diego. I want you to have the best steak of your life at the top of a building, and then fly back. Now you're going to be like, that was awesome.
Yep.
Good for me.
I love that. See, and I feel like so many people, I don't know if you do Enneagram stuff at all, but I'm an Enneagram 3. It's that achiever level, the type A. I don't pause. I don't want to pause. I want to keep going and thriving. And my celebration is the next success that I'm not going to celebrate, because I'm going to go to the next thing. And so I really had to teach myself, like, no, it's okay to pause and celebrate that. It's okay to pause and do this. It did not come natural for me. It was not a
Not at all. And that's, I just got done going through my own coaching program. Shout out to Alpha Hippie. And the thing that I learned in the 3 months, I mean, I had a lot of the other stuff down, right? Like, hey, I got what's going on here, right? Future self and legacy writing. But being able to nurture myself, that was key. And in a world that is always telling us to be on the gas pedal, to pause and say, no, I'm done with work today. I'm going to go walk around. I'm going to go get myself a latte. I'm going to go home and just lay on the floor. And I can do those things without whipping yourself of like, no, I'm, I have to be grinding, and it's the entrepreneur, mindset, and you just got to keep going and going and going. And I'm like, anytime somebody brings that to me, I'm like, listen, you're a rookie, right? You're trying to grind yourself to death, and that's exactly what you'll do. You'll end up being like, yeah, the entrepreneur life wasn't for me. And so being able to have that nurturing aspect of being able to go, hey, good job. You had some vegetables with breakfast. Heck yeah, celebrate that.
Yeah. Oh, the grind is a whole nother conversation that I could have for hours. I'm really big on boundaries too, because I used to be the same way, like, especially in the wedding industry. Like, that is the dirtiest, nastiest industry when it comes to time. But I'm very protective over my boundaries, like, especially like, after 6 p.m. I'm done. Like, I'm done for the day.
Yep.
I eat dinner. I go to bed at like 7:45 most nights. Like, nice. my team at my day job, like, everyone at Club Pilates knows, like, Callie's not available. You can call her at 4 a.m. because she's going to the gym, but do not call her at 7 overnight. Like, she's not available.
Wow.
And weekends, right? Like, I'm really intentional about Sundays. Like, I just don't pour into my business on Sundays. I do some coursework on Sunday mornings, once a month, but beyond that, I don't check my emails. I don't respond to emails. I don't get really involved with my business. I don't really podcast anymore on Sundays, unless it's a certain circumstance.
Right.
But I'm very protectant over, like, I'm going to go lay in the sun by the pool under a blanket, because that's where I want to go. And that's what I want to do. And don't bother me. Like, and that's okay. You're still going to be successful even if you rest. Like,
oh my gosh, you're going to be more successful
for one day.
I mean, again, we could do a whole nother podcast. Okay. Well, just to recap, you guys, what we were talking about today, we were talking about body image. That body image is different for each person. Guy, girl, heavy, skinny, medium, tall, short, it doesn't matter. It's being able to refocus and reframe your mindset to be able to create the image for you, yourself, because it's your perception, the lens that you put on, that's going to tell you whether you are beautiful, you're strong, you're confident. And some of the things that Callie talked about, the 1, 2, 3s, was first and foremost, how you think is what you say. So starting off with affirmations, even if it doesn't feel like it's true, start talking to yourself in a positive manner. Just like what we were saying earlier, what you focus on expands. So the more you say positive things, the more you feel that joy expanding. Another really important one, the second one that Callie talked about, is make sure you surround yourself with positive people. This includes social media. We were talking with Brian Velez in the last podcast on podcast number 19 about how he got rid of every single person on his Instagram that didn't push him towards his own self-awareness. And you can do the same thing. This is what Callie was talking about. You don't have to tell your mom, hey, I'm never going to see you again. But maybe you need to mute her out, right? Maybe you need to avoid the certain scenarios that's going to trigger you up. And maybe you need to confront your mom and say, hey, mom, you don't get to talk to me that way anymore. It's just not going to fly. And so making sure that you surround yourself with people that are going to be a positive influence and help you continue to expand that focus. And the last is to change your focus. Stop focusing on the narrow idea of get to the end goal. Keep your horizons open so you can see the beauty that is around you, and make sure to celebrate all of those things that are good. Callie, how do people get a hold of you?
Yeah, absolutely. So my Instagram handle is the Glowponent Method. My website is glowponent.com or the glowponentmethod.com. After the trademark issue, if you followed that,
Yes.
I own everything now because I'm too paranoid. But the Glowponent, you can find us. I'm on Clubhouse too. I've been doing a lot of Clubhouse conversations. Pretty much any platform. If you search Glowponent, you'll find me.
Yes, indeedy. And do you do like a complimentary coaching session or a clarity call?
I do all sorts of things. I'm really specific on customizing things for everybody.
Yeah.
I do monthly mini courses. I'm in the process of rolling out a mastermind course
Cool.
that's only going to be open to 5 people so that it can be really in depth.
Cool.
But I love conversations with people. I love people in general. And so there's no formal clarity call process, but it's never stopped me to get on a call with people. I love FaceTime calls, conversations, emails, the whole 9 yards, because I love people. I'm here for people. I'm here to share stories, experiences, the whole 9 yards. So I'm always available.
You're so awesome. Guys, if you're listening on the podcast, you can go to the YouTube channel, Ikon Fitness, and you can check out Callie. Why? Because she is a beautiful woman with a beautiful spirit. Just being able to see you and talk to you, you are such an amazing woman, Callie. I feel very blessed to have the opportunity to be able to have you on the show and to be able to get to know you. I really look forward to continuing our relationship as coaches to be able to help with people with broken joy.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Joel, for having me. This has been so inspiring. You motivate me so much as a coach. You've helped me so much through my journey. And so thank you so much for having me on your podcast and getting to chat with you.
Of course. Of course. All right, guys, that is it for today. Again, if you want to dive in a little bit deeper, you can reach out to Callie or you can reach out to me. Either one, you're going to find some great coaches who are going to make some incredible changes for you. We'll be back next week. It's going to be just me on the podcast. Stay tuned to what we're going to be diving into, because you know what we're going to be talking about next week, Callie?
What? Tell me.
Affirmations.
Oh, I love that.
Boom.
I'll be here. I'll be here.
Yes, yes. All right, guys. Hope you have a wonderful day. I will see you next time.